do.
All set?
My
Okay.
doctor would say I have one more dose.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call to order the regular meeting for January 9th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission statement is Learning for Life, and the vision statement is Southgate Community Schools, the best choice for students and parents. Okay, next item on the agenda is to elect officers. We have an annual election for officers, and these go with a nomination and acceptance of the nomination, and then any other nominations and acceptance, and then a vote. So we'll go ahead to the first item, which is President. Is there a nomination for President?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a nomination for Jason Craig.
Okay, I have a nomination. All right, I'll accept. Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And then Vice President is the next nomination.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Andrew Green for the Vice President position.
Okay, I have a nomination for Mr. Green. Is it supported? Do you accept?
Nobody else wants to run, or? Yeah, they'll get all quiet at the same time. I accept.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Mr. Green, you're Vice President. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, next is a nomination for Secretary.
Mr. President,
Mr. Green.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Darlene Pomponio as secretary.
Okay, I have a nomination for Dr. Pomponio.
Support.
Okay, supported. Are there any other nominations for Secretary? All right, seeing none, do you accept?
Yes. Thanks.
And I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is accepted and passed. And next is the nomination for Treasurer.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion or nominate Rick Lamas
Okay.
for treasurer.
Nomination for Mr. Lamas.
Support.
Supported. Is that accepted?
Accept.
It is? Okay. Any other nominations? All right. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That was exciting. Don't have to do any moves or anything. Next is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. No presentations tonight?
Nope.
Okay. Citizens' comments. Anybody who'd like to speak tonight on any item or otherwise? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and efficiently move on to the consent agenda, which consists of minutes from the December 12th, 2023 regular meeting, the HR update, December 2023 disbursements, operational and organizational items, which I will not list all of. That's it. So I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
I'll support it.
Support by Ms. Angel. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on the consent, or I'm sorry, I'll take a vote on the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved. Okay, next is our annual board organization discussions. So the first is board committees. And the two committees we have standing are policy and finance, is that correct? Anybody want to be on policy or finance? I guess this is the time for that discussion. I need 3 for each.
I can stay on the policy.
I can stay on finance.
Finance, okay.
Policy.
Stay on policy.
Policy.
Policy. Finance. Policy, all right. And that leaves Neil with finance as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what he gets.
it stays like it was? I think
Stays
that's
like
what we
it
had,
was.
what?
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Next discussion is board compensation. Is there any discussion anybody would like to offer on board compensation? Okay. No new discussion for board compensation. Professional development, budget and requests. Our standard professional development budget
1,000.
is 1,000. Okay. Does anybody want to discuss that, changing that? Up, down, stay the same? I would say with no action, we'll just stay the same, so. Okay. All right. Everybody's silence is,
There has to be a,
Consensus,
there's gotta be a roadblock somewhere. This is the easiest first
Yeah,
meeting.
this
it's too much? It's too much?
Right.
All right, takes us to the action items. First action item is approval of board committees, compensation, and/or professional development that we just discussed. So, we'll need a motion to, do we have to list the names, or can we just,
I just say a status quo on
yeah,
everything.
yeah, so everything is staying the same, so we just need a motion that everything will stay the same with number 1.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the committees, the compensation, professional development requests to stay the same.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is approved. Action item number 2, approval of the 2024 renovations at Anderson High School, Anderson Fieldhouse, and Davidson Middle School.
We have Plant Moran
10%.
coming for this.
Hopefully we can follow suit and keep everything as easy as the first half of the agenda. Gary Kent with Plant Moran Rail Point, here with Jason Hardy from Southgate Community Schools to present the award recommendation for the 2024 renovations at Davidson Middle School, Anderson High School, and the Anderson Fieldhouse. This update represents the mutual efforts of Plant Moran Rail Point, Granger Construction, TMP Architecture, and the Southgate Community Schools administration and their legal counsel to present and identify, evaluate, and recommend the contractors for this project. In November of 2023, construction documents were formally issued and made available to contractors, and advertisements were posted in the local newspaper and the required state of Michigan website. On December 20th, sealed electronic bid proposals were received and publicly opened, and over the following days, from December 21st through January 4th, were reviewed and attended by various members of the steering committee to determine budget implications. Upon completion of the post-bid scope review meetings and after subsequent clarifications and discussions, the steering committee is recommending the firms listed in Granger Construction's award recommendation letter dated January 5th, 2024 for contract award. The total project award recommendation for the 2024 renovations at Davidson Middle School, Anderson High School, and the Anderson Fieldhouse totals $8,490,183.00. This award recommendation includes the following: base bid contract amount and accepted alternates of $6,536,530 and a contingency amount of $1,953,653. On the following pages, you'll see a breakdown of that budget summary, renderings of the Anderson Fieldhouse, and the Granger subcontractor award recommendation and bid tabulation. So the next page, you'll see the renderings of what the Fieldhouse would look like. These are the proposed renderings and what we're building to. And on the following page, you'll see the budget summary of what was budgeted versus what was actual and the variance between those two categories. So,
Mr. Kent, can I jump in?
yes.
What it's not displayed here, because it's not very clear, we see an exterior change. It doesn't look like there's much changing with the field house. We are removing the current concession area. We're expanding it pretty significantly. We're also adding 2 large restrooms with 15 or more stalls for women, and I think 10 or more for males.
Yep.
And then one larger locker room area and a visitor side locker area as well. So I think the community will be very relieved to hear that we're dramatically increasing some of that restroom space in that new facility. And the concession stand area will be professionally outfitted as well, and I think that'll be a nice change.
Yep, yeah, there's gonna be a lot nicer flow to the concessions area. The internal areas of the locker rooms are gonna be totally reworked to ramp up the locker rooms for the home team. The away team will have a nice new locker room as well. And then, like Ms. Irvine noted, there's gonna be a lot more restrooms, which I know was a pain point in the past. So it's definitely gonna be a huge overhaul, and it's gonna be a great product when they're all said and done.
I have one question. I assume the scale of it is somehow based on how much stuff we sold previously, or what our crowd sizes are, or changing, is that?
Code requirements. I'll jump in, code requirements.
Oh, all right.
It's just math. However many people you have, you divide in half, male, female, and then you go to the chart, tells you how many you gotta have, so.
And then how about the food and beverage area, the kitchen?
Yep, so we did meet with administrators to determine, what their needs were, what they're seeing at the games, and to meet all of those requirements, to make sure that we're gonna do this right, so that they're getting exactly what they need. I know Jason had conversations as well.
We're bringing it up to, not a code, but standard operating procedures for the concession stand, so the 3 department sinks and everything that we need to serve food for the crowds, we're bringing it up to where it should be. The concession stand is older right now, but we're expanding it to take care of the needs of the people in the stadium.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question. In this design, do we have ticket sales that are gonna be part of the concessions, or is it gonna be somewhere else? Or does it even need a
Yeah,
separate?
I believe, I don't think it's shown in this rendering, but the ticket sales, I think we're gonna be on the front side of this. There was a ticket booth right here.
Yeah, we currently do electronic ticket sales currently, and we're planning to keep that with the new field house. They'll be outside the gate. We'll set up a table, to check your phones if you buy the tickets online.
So if someone decides to come up, let's say with their friends, and say, I wanna come in, purchase a ticket, can they do it there still?
Yeah, you scan a QR code.
Oh, okay.
Just go on.
Yeah, they can do it on their phones.
Yeah.
Okay. And,
Also included in this renovation is the auditoriums. I don't want to miss that. Anderson Auditorium's getting renovated, the Davidson Auditorium's getting renovated as well. Interior locker rooms, interior concessions by the gymnasium in Anderson is getting renovated.
Multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose room's getting a new floor, so this is not just all about field house. There's other interior renovations at both Anderson and Davidson as well in this bid package.
was there any updates to the seating in the not the Allen, but the Anderson Auditorium recently? Because I know that they were a lot worse than what they are currently, the seating.
The seats at Anderson are older than the Davidson seats, so at Davidson, we're going to repair and replace seats as needed, and Anderson's getting all new seats in the auditorium.
Okay.
New flooring, new ceilings, new sound, new lighting.
Lights, yeah.
So there's a whole bunch in these packages.
Oh, good. Okay, and the other thing, we are currently working with Granger?
Yes.
Okay, so did we have any other comparison bids, or is it just that we worked with them, so we?
Yeah, so we did bid out Granger at the beginning of the bond program, and I think we had 7 or 8 different contractors or CMs bid on the project, and they were the lowest bid for the whole bond program. So we locked them in at that
Okay.
rate, which is great, because it was all pre-COVID at the time, and they're honoring that rate throughout the entire bond.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What did you guys come up with as far as the flooring for the multipurpose room?
It is a sports floor. It's gonna be like a poured floor again. The old floor's coming out, so they're gonna have to take it down below grade, and it's a newer sports floor is what they call it. It's not a wood floor, maple floor, but it's a sports floor that you can play basketball, volleyball, and do everything you need. And it's gonna be better to maintain than what we have currently.
It will have a wood grain, so it will have a wood floor look to it.
Yes.
So the lines will be painted for basketball and volleyball?
It's in the, I believe it's in the flooring itself, so, but yes, they will be painted for volleyball and basketball. And then have also more of a walkway, if you will, around the court for bleachers that will go down and have like a seating area. So.
I know, I think Jason and I were part of that at the beginning, but are we hoisting mats? Are we not hoisting mats?
Yes, we have wrestling mat hoists included in the project as well. New batting cage included in the project. We're upgrading the basketball rims and backboards to be electrified in the multi-purpose room in this project. I'm sure I'm missing
Yeah,
something.
not in
There's
this
a lot
project, the scoreboard, but it's not in this project, but we are updating the scoreboard,
in the multi-purpose room.
so.
And as far as seating for participant, families coming to watch, how are we doing that? We still rolling bleachers in and out?
Yeah.
Yes.
The room is too small
Right,
to have anything permanent.
Right.
And it's actually too small for competition basketball play. There's not enough zone area around it. So we can do a competition volleyball. Actually, we may not even be able to do that because of the roof height.
Correct.
So we're really looking at it as a practice facility for basketball and volleyball. And then we can use it for competition for wrestling and cheer.
Sounds good.
Any other questions we got? You guys didn't get to finish, so.
The only thing we wanted to hit on was the budget. So total Hart Construction budget for this project was $8,520,987. The budgeted construction contingency was $852,099, and a total project budget of $9,373,086. The Hart Construction numbers came in at $6,536,530. The caveat with that is we're still expecting civil bids, which is going to be about $600,000, but still leaves us about $200,000 under what we had budgeted, which is great news. The construction contingency, as you can see, is a little bit higher. We're still evaluating the bid alternates to determine which ones make the most sense for the district. And with that, we did budget about $1.26 million for the bid alternates. That with the $200,000 worth of savings and the construction contingency of 10%, we're asking for a $653,653 construction contingency amount, which is total project cost brings us in $882,903 under budget, which, again, there's gonna be a $600,000 package coming at a later date that will go against that, but still about $200,000 less than what we had budgeted originally.
What do you see as our biggest contingency probability on something like this?
So,
We have, I'll go ahead and say, we have done a scope review for air conditioning. And that would have been part of the package. But we have to now have a conversation about how much that will cost and whether we want to take that on and what that looks like for the full bond project 2020, Series 1 and 2. So right now, we did get a quote on it, but we have it pocketed in the contingency rather than in the main project because we're still evaluating whether we'll go forward with it. We have 60 days to say whether or not we're going to go forward with it
Right.
or not.
No, but I mean, on typical projects, contingency is the unforeseen. What we're dealing with is pretty straightforward. I mean, you got a floor, I guess what's under it you don't know, but seats are pretty straightforward. I mean, there's not a lot of unknown, I guess is my point, so. Or am I missing something? Is there a lot of unknown here that,
We held the
I don't care where
normal,
you put it in the.
we held the
setup.
normal percentage on contingency for all other projects, but with the alternate still hanging out there in lieu.
Oh, no, I understand alternate choices,
Right.
but,
Yeah,
I mean,
I-
Gary understands my point is, when you're digging a hole, you don't know what's there. Are you gonna have to remove a size of, a concrete the size of 3 Buicks, or
I
is it
think
just
the
dirt?
biggest unknown right now would probably be, what's under the slab at the field house, maybe when we're tying into the existing plumbing, if we have to size up or size down, or what's under there. Same thing with the auditorium, if we're moving seats and we have to, there's new code that needs aisle lighting, so if we have to channel more over, something like that, that just wasn't foreseen. Those are probably the biggest ones. I don't see too many
Okay.
major unforeseen items with this.
I
these
understand the money
projects.
being budgeted there, and
Yeah.
you can move it wherever to whatever options we like, but
If we don't
the
need
true purpose of contingency is
Yeah.
the unknown.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see a whole lot of unknown. in
Well, there's
this.
2 or 3 additions too at the field house over the years, so you don't know if you're gonna get into footings that they buried, and so that's a big one there. That's a big unforeseen, and we don't know what the base is either, you know, when you're gonna put the slab back on grade. Is there base below? We don't know till we take the slab out and all the slabs coming out,
We didn't
of the
test any
field house.
cores, we didn't do any cores testing it?
They didn't test inside the field house just because it was in use, but they made assumptions based on what they had seen in the past, so
Okay.
I don't see
You're
too
not
many.
super worried.
Yeah, I'm not
That's what
super
I'm hearing.
worried,
You're
and
not
and of
super
course,
worried.
anything that's unused in contingency will be returned. to
Of
the
course.
district.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so,
Okay. I mean, we're under bid anyway right now, so
yeah,
it's fine, but.
yeah.
So with back over to the auditoriums, so we're doing the seats and everything, are we, I know at Anderson, we, just a few years ago, that brand-new curtain for the theater program. Are we, is it, what's is the curtains or anything like in Davison? Are we doing the stage floor, or is it just the seating? Where are we at with the auditorium? Kind of run me through that a little bit.
So stage floor are getting refinished at Anderson and Davidson, so sand it back down, and if it's painted, back of stage gets painted black, brown, so that's gonna get refinished. The walls around the stage are getting blacked out. There's some new lighting going in above, new speakers, new sound. Sound booth is getting relocated. The seating, we're making ADA seats for wheelchairs, and so we gotta level the floor off, make it flat, everything's on an angle. We're also adding a wheelchair lift to get on the stage from the floor, bringing it up to code, because we're touching so much of the auditorium.
The door on the side, don't,
We do, they're requiring a lift in the front just in case of a fire to get wheelchair out, is what TMP's telling us.
Oh,
To
I'd
get up
like
onto the
to-
stage
From
and
the
out that
audience.
side door.
I'd like to see that
Okay.
and
Yeah, we
maybe
can-
challenge that. That's,
Yeah,
we have a door that goes right out. I mean, there's,
Right.
that's well under the travel distance of needing two. I mean,
We can revisit that. I mean,
Yeah, I
that
don't-
would save some money.
no
and
offense
that's-
to
no.
our professionals, but I'd
Right.
just have to question a
Yep.
lift that would be,
yeah, they originally
Intrusive and-
proposed a ramp actually getting out, and we went away with that, and so just with the lift, but.
yeah, I'd like to push back on that a little.
There's some new
We have an
sound.
immediate exit leaving. I mean,
Well, so when you're on the side, you can get right out the side door.
right, that's what I'm saying.
From the top of the stairs, from the front. Somebody can be at grade and come right in.
Yeah, the new ADA seats are in the front of the auditorium, so the lift would be right next to that, so if there were a fire, they can go right out versus back all the way up the ramp and out.
They're saying there's a fire in the back. They want to have immediate access to the other door.
The way that they stated it was that current code requires 2 exits, so there's one in the back, and they need to be able to access the one in the front as well, which is what TMP recommended the lift for. But we can definitely
I'd
revisit
love to
it. Yeah,
discuss
we
it
can
a
have a
little more.
conversation with them.
Yeah, I'd
and
love to
just-
discuss it a little further.
Yeah, definitely.
We are not replacing some of the major improvements that happened recently at Anderson.
Right.
So the
Right.
curtains are staying intact. I think the lighting systems are staying intact. The sound, though, system and the board that was placed in the auditorium is really an inferior product, is what everyone that has tried to work with it has said. So that is getting changed out.
Right, and that's kind of where I was getting
We-
at, is we just spent some money in there, we're just 2 years later, here we go again, and,
Yeah.
We-
you know,
we
that's not
are-
really needed for the whole thing, there's some things we've already done.
We're upgrading the house lights because we had a problem with the house lights going down, and we didn't have lights in the auditorium for a while because our house lights, the controller's old, so we're upgrading. We're not getting rid of anything that we put in that's good. We're just adding to it and making it better.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
For the DMS, we are getting our own lighting system. For a very long time, community players installed their own lighting system for us, but we will be replacing that, and it will be the district's lighting system. So if people want to use it, they can use ours. But we want to make sure that we have full access and own everything that's in our building.
Okay, that's good.
What's the time frame as far as start to finish?
The field house renovations are gonna start demo February, so that it's done in time for football season. We're gonna start some abatement in January, so yet this month upon approval, of course. And then a lot of the bulk of the work for the auditorium will be done in the summer time at both Anderson and Davidson, and the interior renovations. If we can get in and do some of that work and preliminary work over the midwinter break, the, spring break coming up, so we get a feel for it before jumping in. We're gonna probably have contractors going through the areas and popping ceiling tiles and seeing what's above, so we can plan for first day of school out. Let's get going inside the buildings.
So are you thinking September of '25?
So it'd be September of '24. We'd have everything completed. That's why the only one we're iffy on, which if we were to start in the summer, we'd be iffy on, would be the field house, but we knew that that's a priority, so we got this bid package done early so that we could start on it earlier and have that wrapped up and completed, by midsummer, so that it's ready to go for students in the fall. Everything else we're anticipating September 1, students come back and everything's back to normal.
Thank you.
We do think the auditorium is going to push that first fall play pretty tightly, meaning that it may not be done until late October, early November, partly because we use the auditorium quite a bit for all of our end-of-year graduation activities, and so we really aren't planning to start demoing that and start that work until after those are completed. So that's one reason why that's going to get pushed. But DMS can get started a lot earlier, so we may find ourselves in a better position for DMS being done on time, which, we could move the fall play there if that was an issue. We did have to delay some of the other projects we had planned, which was lockers replacements for the high school, as well as flooring for the high school and other locker rooms, including the downstairs locker room. Because we couldn't have everything closed up and locked up. If we had done all of those projects, we'd have the field house out of commission, we'd have all the locker rooms out of commission, which would make it very difficult for teams to use the facilities during the summer. So we did have to stagger some of that work. So we postponed the flooring projects as well as the locker projects and several of the locker room projects until summer 2025, so that we can coexist with all the work.
So I know that we have a different setup at Anderson for the auditorium. We have like a little concession area. Is there any physical renovations to DMS that would include that to include the concessions or anything different like that? Or is it just internal inside the?
It's internal, but right now you have where the sound booth is at DMS,
Yeah.
you have these walls.
Okay.
If you recall, those are going to be reduced to half walls.
Okay.
And that way you can see the entire auditorium at one time, and there are no hidden spots, which is a very special request from administration
Okay.
to make sure that they're able to see all their students at a time. And it wasn't helpful to have that all enclosed anyhow. So that's one of the pieces that they will be doing that's hard construction.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Did you guys get through it all? Anything else we need? No? All right, bring the discussion back to the table and entertain a motion on action item number 2.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2024 renovations at Anderson High School, Anderson Fieldhouse, and Davidson Middle School, not to exceed $8,490,183.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Long. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, approval of the 2024 Garish Roofing Project.
Alrighty. Again, this update represents mutual efforts of Plant Moran Real Point, Intertech PSI, Southgate Community Schools, and the legal counsel to present the framework in order to identify, evaluate, and recommend a roofing contractor for this project. On November 27th, construction documents were formally issued and made available. Advertisements were placed in the local newspaper and the required state of Michigan website. And on December 14th, sealed bids were received and publicly opened and were reviewed to determine project requirements were met. Post-bid scope review meetings were immediately held on the next day, December 15th, with the 2 lowest bidders on this project, and were attended by Intertech PSI, Plant Moran Real Point, and the Southgate Community Schools Administration. Upon completion of the post-bid review meetings and subsequent discussions, the steering committee is recommending a total project award of $570,517, which includes a contract award of $475,431 to Shana Roofing and a construction contingency budget of $95,086. The contractors and the cost of work will be detailed in AIA contract A105.
Scared me a little too.
On the following pages, you'll see the recommendation letter from Intertech PSI, which was the hired architect for this project. Instead of going through typical architect, we went direct to civil engineer, Intertech, to design the roof, which is specialized in roofing, and the contractor proposals.
So Granger's not involved on this, right? We just go direct on this.
Correct. Yeah, this is a design prime.
Nothing, nothing to coordinate or,
Yeah, instead of paying them another 10%, we figured we just handle it internally and save the district some money.
I'm gonna step in right here. So on the Garish roof, this is pretty much the first floor of Garish, or Beacon, as a lot of people know it. It's on the first floor of the building. The second floor already has EDPM roof, so rubber roofing. The first floor is the coal tar built-up roof with the rocks on it, so we're replacing the rocks, the rock roof on the building. And so it has also, it's gonna be the same manufacturer, Firestone, so we're gonna have the same company and the same warranties on the roof. And the roof prior to this was back in 2010, 2012. The second story, so the gym, the second floor roofs were done back then. So this comes with a 20-year warranty on the roof. It's EDPM, so the synthetic rubber roofing. With Intertech, they did a full audit across the district for the roof. So they did the core samples plus the infrared on the roof to tell where the moisture was. And this was one of the worst roofs across the district. This is sinking fund money. So this is the first project, first roof we're going to be tackling with sinking fund. This project's to be done this summer. They get out of school and it'll be done and back for start of school. So.
Barb approved that? You can spend this money? Barb, you approve this? We're all right to spend this? Okay. All right.
Questions?
Any questions for staff? Dr. Pomponi?
I have a question about the Iran sanctions for business linked in Iran. Is that just one country, or is this something that's general business related?
So that is in all of our documents on all of our bids. It's not usually attached, but Intertech put that in their recommendation here. But Iran sanctions is in all of our bid packs.
Okay, I just didn't know why. Is that something that's on a list that's
Yeah,
something we
it's a
can't-
requirement typically from the state. Legal counsel advised that we would include that in there in all the bid documents, so we copied the same best practices from the bond into the sinking fund as well.
Okay, I just never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Took me by surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
there, they just don't usually return it.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring the discussion back to the table and entertain a motion on action item number 3.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2024 Garish roofing project not to exceed $570,517.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Support by Ms. Green. Any discussion?
I just wanted to mention, as Jason said, this is a sinking fund project, which the public was kind enough to approve not too long ago, and a great example of how we're using these kind of funds for capital requests or operational and maintenance requests versus dragging money out of our educational spend. So I just wanted to thank everyone for approving that. Thank you.
Excellent point. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Approval of the SkyTrack telehandler for construction trades.
You got it. SkyTrack telehandler. So the state of Michigan has a push to increase the number of students that are getting training in the skilled trades. I think we have a shared vision of that, and they are willing to put money into these programs. So we were awarded a grant, $51,000, And in that grant, we requested that we purchase this SkyTrack telehandler, which will aid in the ability to move heavy loads of supplies and equipment. It'll also help in putting up walls, putting up trusses, a lot of the things, heavy lifting that is done in the industry in a safer, reasonable way. We would like to have that and give our students the experience of being able to work how they would work on an actual job site. So when we have our own actual job site, we will have our teacher certified to be able to operate this piece of machinery. There won't be any students that are driving this or operating it, but they will still be experiencing what it is to work with and around this piece of equipment.
So it's a combination of kind of a mini crane, forklift, tractor, right?
You got it. Yep, and it goes up 42 feet in the air, and can carry a lot of load.
Right. Okay. Any questions for staff?
Just to given its age, it strikes me that, the age of this beast, are we in good shape and from its operability for more than?
It is. I originally had requested one that was a little bit newer, a little bit more expensive, but we did not get approved for the cost of that from the state of Michigan. But we did get approved for the 51,000, so this is what I was able to change that request to be, so it fit in that. But the hours of operation are comparable. The machine looks good. There is a seat, a little cab in there with the seat. The seat has some damage to it, but other than that, it looks pretty clean.
And would it be worth us considering trying to subsidize that $6,000 difference for the newer model? Is there a compelling case for that, or is that we should consider?
I didn't know if this board would be willing to do that. I wouldn't be opposed to if you were willing to give and approve some more money to go into it, but I was trying to stay cost even.
Sure, of course, of course. I mean, it's certainly not my call, it would be ours, but, and I don't want to open a can of worms, but if there's a good reason to consider another model for a few $1,000s, either from a safety standpoint or an operability or length of, investment length, I mean, if there's a business case, let's look at it. Anyone else agree or disagree?
What's the comparison of a new vehicle as opposed to this one?
A new would be very,
Like a,
much more than a couple thousand. But the one that I had originally put in was a 2014, and it was 57,900. So that is, a little bit more comparable than buying new. But if we were to not get anything and we were to rent this every time, that seems like that doesn't make sense if the state is willing to throw us a bone there and give us the funds to purchase this.
are there warranties on like this one and the 2014?
Warranties are hard to come by on these used vehicles.
Construction equipment does not depreciate at the same rate as like a car or?
Correct. Yeah.
It doesn't appreciate like a house, but it does not
Right.
depreciate at the same rate as other things.
So we're looking to gain, for 8,000 more, we can gain 7 years on a piece of equipment.
You know how many hours are on the other one?
I do not have that on here, but it was pretty close to comparable.
I would say that if you get more bang for your buck and a few $1,000s more in a vehicle that you're gonna get more time out of,
$1,000 a year, it's pretty good value.
yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at
You need us to
1,000.
hold it over or bring it back, or do you want us to talk about it some more?
Well, I mean, if you,
We didn't
are
mean to
willing
blow
to-
up your
yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
but-
Mark and I are gonna talk after this. No, if you feel comfortable with us making a decision on the actual make and model, and you're willing to approve an expenditure, that's roughly in that $60,000 range, the board can amend this motion to go ahead and approve an expenditure of $60,000 for this, and we can make that adjustment. If you'd like to be more involved in the detail of it and see what we're talking about, we can bring this back to you at the next board meeting.
I don't need more detail. I don't have a problem with giving them some more money and letting them figure out what's best for them, but
I think that if you're gonna put the money into it, we're getting the grant. And if, for us to invest that much, that little bit of money, I think we should move it to a bigger, more current year.
Like you said, you're looking at $1,000 a year
yeah.
to invest in this for the students, for construction trade.
I'm all for it.
Right.
I'm in.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. We'll just amend the amount.
I'm not gonna
We'll just-
oppose you.
Well, we'll just amend,
Right.
we'll just,
Right,
we'll
yeah.
just amend the amount and then you can figure it out, because
Where are we gonna store this thing though? I do have that question.
We can store it right now at the site once we get going. I think the idea right now would be to store it where the dumpster is currently located by the construction trades, yeah.
And there's cameras covering that area.
we'll rent this thing out to Granger, right, Gary?
Right,
See if
exactly.
see if they want to rent
On
it.
site.
That,
When they got to put some stuff on the roof or something.
that
you
might
know?
pay for your couple thousand right there.
Right.
8 million, buddy. We're even on item action 2.
I don't have a problem with just amending this motion and letting them figure it
Right.
out. I mean, they might go to buy this one and it might be gone, and you might find.
That is,
And you might find a 16 for the same amount. Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem amending it and giving a little more to play with, and,
Yeah, because the idea is we're getting the grant already.
Yeah.
So I'd rather
Yeah.
have it last a little bit longer.
yeah, I trust them with the other $8,000 to figure out what's best.
So how do we want the
Is that
motion to
enough?
read?
I would just authorize I would say should say something about purchasing the construction equipment up to 58,000, is that
Up
good,
to
or
60.
60,000? 60,
Right,
round it up,
60.
we'll round it up to
Okay.
60, and,
all right,
okay,
Right.
thank you.
that didn't hurt too bad, right?
It did not hurt at all.
All right, okay. Any more questions for staff? All right, I'll entertain a motion on action item number 4.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Skytrack, or a construction trade telehandler not to exceed $60,000.
Okay. I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Green. He jumped in. He was very quick.
There you go.
It was a nice try. Rick. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. All right, approval of the 2024-2025 School of Choice Plan, my favorite topic.
Here's the roadblock.
Yeah, so annually, we bring this before you. This last year, or the 23-24 school year, we accepted approximately 90 school of choice students between the spring and the late summer windows. About 40 of those were North Point. 40 to 50 of them were North Point, so a good majority of those were those that were interested in that program. So we have before you another plan for the 24-25 school year, and we've been very nuanced in how we want it to roll out, meaning that we have a combination of limited and unlimited, in which we are allowed to do by state law. Our program Atlas is an unlimited. We are able to then choose a 30-day period of time. We would run that from August 8th through September 6th as an open opportunity. For our school of choice regularly, we have March 4th through the 22nd for all students, grades K through 11. We would open up that window again in May for IB because we do have kind of a slower release, so we have quite a bit of programming and advertising that we have unplanned to roll out. We then will have another week for IB in August 5th through 9th. But our window in August would go run from August 5th through August 15th for kindergarten grade 11 through, kindergarten through 11, not IB. So that's our program. We have quite a few openings, of course, that we're allowing through this. But this really does reflect the opportunities that we've had to grow in some really key areas. So we are bringing that forward to you again.
Any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion on action item number 5.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 School of Choice Plan as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Supported by Ms. Angel. Any discussion? I'll offer some. Just school of choice is, it's not a secret, it's not something I'm in favor of. Brought in parts, I wouldn't have had a problem with the online atlas issue, but this is a whole in one, so I will be opposing the motion. But just, that's my point, is all. So, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I vote no. That motion passes. Okay. And that brings us to the last item on the agenda, which I'll entertain a motion for.
Everybody looks at me always. Why does everybody look at me? I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by Mr. Green, supported by Mr. Lamas. Any discussion? Okay, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Man,
We are adjourned. Thank you.
I love you guys.